The Oklahoma City Thunder win? In beating the Magic, they snap a 10-game losing streak. But what does this really mean? How does it impact the tank? And who stood out in this Thunder win for the first time in 10 games? Find out on today's Locked On Thunder podcast, the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day.
You are Locked On Thunder, your daily Oklahoma City Thunder podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Let's get it going on the Locked On Thunder podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. I am your host, Rylan Stiles. You can follow me on Twitter at Rylan_Stiles. You can follow the show on Twitter at LOThunderPod. Email the show, LOThunderPod@gmail.com. On today's show, we're going to talk about Oklahoma City earning a win over the Orlando Magic, which snaps a 10-game losing streak. What does this mean for the lottery balls in the NBA draft? SGA does not play in this game. Will he play in the next contest for the Thunder? Theo Maledon dominates this contest. Vit gets a double-double, which makes us all excited about his future. And Trey Mann has yet another spark plug quarter, which really propels the Thunder to this win, if you want to call it that. What does this game mean for the tank, for the Thunder, and for the Magic? Well, luckily for the Thunder, they lost Sunday against the Magic, and this season series ends in a split. And luckily for the Thunder, the Magic beat Golden State on Tuesday, which, if you were listening to yesterday's show, as you were supposed to, Richard Seaman, who is also a Magic fan, hopped on here and was talking about how, this game Wednesday meant so much, and the Thunder and Magic came off of 3 games in 4 nights, and how the Magic would likely lose to Golden State. We recorded that Tuesday afternoon. Yeah, the Magic ended up beating Golden State, which is a huge net win for the Thunder and teams trying to climb up the Tankathon rankings. Again, the standings reverse, but your mindset doesn't. You're still looking at this as a chase. But instead of chasing a playoff spot, you're chasing better odds at the NBA draft lottery. So whenever the Magic pick up a game that they shouldn't, in this case, it's a big deal. It's like losing a game you shouldn't. It's like if the Warriors lost to the Magic and you're chasing the Warriors for home court advantage or for the higher seed in the playoffs. So the standings reverse, but the mindset doesn't really change. You just flip wins and losses, and that's how you get to the chase of the magical ping pong balls. And the Pistons beat Atlanta tonight, which is huge. I mean, that narrows the gap. OKC now sits 3 games back of the worst record in the NBA. They sit a game back of Detroit and a game and a half back of Orlando. Remember, Detroit's on the docket coming up in the few games here. You can make up a game quickly by just simply losing to Detroit. A game and a half back of Orlando now. Again, luckily that the Warriors fell to the Magic and the Pistons beat the Hawks. And Houston nearly beat the Mavericks, so there's still some life in Houston. We'll see how many more games they can steal down the stretch. Anything is still possible. The Thunder are still in the game for one of the 3 worst records in the NBA. And the reason why you want to be at that plateau of 3 is that while it does change your floor from 1 to 2 to 3, what doesn't change is your odds at the top overall pick. So 1, 2, and 3 all have 14% chance to get the top overall pick. Now, if you're 1, the lowest you can fall is 5, and yada, yada, yada. So, you change your floor a bit, but you all have the same chance at getting the prize, the number 1 overall selection. You end at 4, and obviously your floor for the pick gets a lot deeper, but your ceiling for the pick goes to 12.5% chance at getting the top overall draft pick. So a lot on the line down the stretch of the season. They're still in a race. It's just not the race you're used to in Oklahoma City. The NBA draft Tankathon sim of the day to kind of get some encouragement. Today was a good sim. The first overall pick goes to the Portland Trail Blazers, which might be one of the most interesting outcomes in all of this. One that was discussed today on our Locked On NBA conference call we have every week was, what if the Pelicans drop off the Lakers in the play-in and the Lakers pick leaps in the top 4, and that goes to New Orleans? That would be also very interesting in the grand scheme of things, but Portland at 1 would be wild. The second overall pick goes to the Orlando Magic. That's tough after the result of today. The third overall pick goes to Oklahoma City. So this is one of the best case scenarios for the Thunder. The Thunder just have to hope that they land in the top three. You land in the top three, that you're going to, at that point, be assured you're going to get one of Chet, Paolo, or Jabari. And you still have the option for Jaden Ivey if you just, for some reason, love Jaden Ivey. I personally don't believe that Jaden Ivey is a great fit in Oklahoma City, given the roster construction, the cornerstones already around him at that point. But you still have that option on the table. But you just want to ensure that you get one of Chet Holmgren or Jabari Smith or Paolo Banchero. One of those top three guys is just a must in this draft class. Obviously, things can change, and Sam Presti can find another diamond in the rough, but you want to put yourself in that hole over and over and over again. Luckily, it worked out with Josh Giddey this year, but it's not always going to work out. The fourth pick goes to Sacramento. The fifth pick goes to Houston, who falls all the way down to 5. Detroit at 6. Indiana at 7. San Antonio at 8. New Orleans going to Portland at 9. So Portland controls the first and the 9th overall pick in this sim. Washington 10. Lakers going to Memphis at 11. New York at 12. Atlanta at 13, Charlotte at 14, and by the way, the Clippers pick right now is 15, and that goes to Oklahoma City as well. So that is what this sim has for us today. There's going to be some good sims, some bad sims, but today you get the third overall pick and, of course, still have control of the Clippers pick, which sits right now at pick 15. Let's talk about this game, though, because it didn't impact the tank that much, just given the nature of what's happened around the NBA recently and, kind of how the other contests have fallen to this point in the season. Again, the Magic beating the Warriors and kind of these random outcomes happening. But it just isn't a comforting win or a fun win, because not only did you lose beat the Magic and kind of tie the season series and split season series whenever you could have lost to them and gone down 0-2 and gained a game in the standings, reverse standings, of course. What really hurts this win, and you snap the 10-game losing streak, that's great. It's never good to go on these long losing streaks. What really hurts is that there was not a point of emphasis in this game. It wasn't Shea going for 40. It wasn't Trey Mann breaking records. It wasn't anything of the sort. Baisley had a rough game. Poku, is just Poku. He had a haircut and 6 points. Roby was good. Vit was good. Lindy Waters was good. Sarr was good. Theo Maledon's your best player. And that doesn't really move you. If this win happened against the Magic and it's SGA going for 40 and Josh Giddey going for a triple-double and Darius Baisley having a few putback slams and is just an awesome player with those two guys, then you're comfortable with the win. You in fact, encourage the win that way. But when it comes at the hands of Theo Maledon and Vit and Lindy Waters, it just feels like a missed opportunity. You simply got out-tanked tonight. And again, reverse your mindset a bit here. Both teams purposely tried to lose this game. The Magic were out there sitting down Wendell Carter Jr. because he dominated the Thunder in their last matchup. They sat down Markelle Fultz, Jalen Suggs, Gary Harris, Robin Lopez, Terrence Ross, Jonathan Isaac, Bol Bol. The Thunder were without Derek Favors, Kenny Hustle, SGA, Josh Giddey, Lou Dort, Ty Jerome, Mike Muscala, Jeremiah Robinson-Earl. The starting lineups tonight were Trey Mann, Wiggins, Poku, Baisley, and Roby for the Thunder. The Magic start Cole Anthony and Andre Hampton as their kind of main pieces, with Mo Bamba and Franz Wagner and Okiki as their main pieces. And Thunder win. Again, this feels a lot different. If it's SGA and Josh Giddey dominating, it feels like a missed opportunity whenever it's just two teams purposely trying to lose and they get the better end of it. The Magic offense was incredibly bad in this game. Pitiful. 33% from 3. 38% from the floor. Cole Anthony was the only one who looked like he kind of knew what a basketball was. And this is the result. They get that game back from Sunday. And it's not disastrous because we've seen the other results play out so far. But still, this is one that you look at on lottery night, and if something weird happens, you say, yeah, probably could have done without that 25-point Theo Maledon game against Orlando in the Paycom Center with like 20 people there. Probably could have done a little bit better than that. But ultimately, there are still some things to take away from this game. We're going to do that like Theo Maledon's 25-point game. Is this a product of somebody has to produce? Or is Theo Maledon showing signs of breaking out of his dreadful start to his career in terms of the numbers that are out there? Trey Mann also has that microwave quarter and shows elite ability that we want to dive into more as he showcased some better passing and mid-range game in this one. Baisley's rough night is interesting because I still think he's turned the corner, but what is there to worry about in the future with Baisley's game? We're going to get into all of that and more coming up on today's Locked On Thunder podcast, the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. But first, let's say right now, but our good friends over at TrueBill. Folks, TrueBill is incredible. Do you know why free trials renew without your consent? It's a business scam to get you out of your money. Do not let greedy corporations pocket your money. Download TrueBill to take control of your subscriptions. TrueBill is the new app that helps you identify and stop paying for subscriptions you do not need, want, or simply forgot about. On average, people save $720 per year with TrueBill because companies make subscriptions hard to cancel. TrueBill makes it incredibly simple. Just link your accounts, and TrueBill will cancel your unwanted subscriptions in one tap. And your TrueBill concierge is there when you need them to cancel unwanted subscriptions, so you don't have to. TrueBill has over 2 million users and helps save them over $100 million. Like Matthew B., who says, quote, "In a matter of seconds, I saved $660 a year on my DirecTV bill. I saved $120 a year on my SiriusXM bill, and I saved $840 a year on my car insurance," unquote. So do not fall for subscription scams any longer. Start canceling today at TrueBill.com/LockedOnNBA. That's TrueBill.com/LockedOnNBA, TrueBill.com/LockedOnNBA. It could save you thousands of dollars a year. TrueBill.com/LockedOnNBA. Also excited to tell you about your friends over at NBA TopShot. They're our very good friends at NBA TopShot. It's the official licensed NFT of the NBA. Connect with a community of thousands and hundreds of NBA fans at a natural progression of fantasy sports, a way so that you can upgrade your experience as an NBA fan. This is the future of what being an NBA fan looks like. You're trading cards, even a moment on Top Shot. It's incredible. It's taking fantasy sports to the next level. If 2K influencers, mention that in my team, it's just incredible. You can see that Top Shot is there for you because you can invest in cards like you're used to. People have been investing in cards forever, and now it's an easier way to do it with digital cards that can give you real value on the market right now, today. And also, there's games to be played, such as the Top Shot moments and challenges. You can predict who will have a great game, and that can create a Top Shot moment, and you can get rewarded for predicting the Top Shot moments. It's fun. I'm involved. All of Locked On Podcast Networks involved. NBA Top Shot is where it's at. Make sure you go check it out at NBA Top Shot today. We are back on the Locked On Thunder Podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. I am your host, Rylan Stiles. You can follow me on Twitter at Rylan_Stiles. You can follow the show on Twitter at LOThunderPod. Email the show, LOThunderPod@gmail.com. Thank you for making Locked On Thunder your first listen every single morning, every single day. We're here for you talking Thunder basketball. And for your second listen, go check out the Locked On Now podcast and nightly recap show, talking all about the NBA games from the night before with breakdowns from our local experts, including myself. It's free and available across all platforms. Folks, Locked On Now is just a quick recap of every NBA game from boots on the ground. People who have watched the games, they recap it for you because we know it's incredibly hard and difficult to watch every single NBA game. In fact, impossible to do that nightly. So let us do it for you and give you a place to go to that has every recap in one place. Locked On Now is that on YouTube, Locked On NBA YouTube channel, and the Locked On Now podcast feed. You can also find Locked On Thunder on YouTube or any other podcasting platform that you're on. Subscribe for free across all platforms so you never miss an episode. We have one for you every single day. Now, let's continue on with this Magic recap. And let's just start with the game overview. We talked about who was out, but how did the Thunder lose this game? The biggest lead for OKC was 19. Orlando went to a 13-point lead. The Thunder started out in like a 10-2 run on the wrong side of it to start this game, and yet they're able to rebound and bounce back. There's only one lead change, 2 times tied. Points in the paint goes to OKC, 42-36. Second chance points goes to the Magic, 9-5. Fast break points, though, goes to OKC, 11-4. And you know that I feel that that's a very important stat for the Thunder with the way that they want to play. The Thunder had one less rebound They had one more turnover. The Thunder had 4 fewer points off turnovers, even though having, of course, having the one more turnover impacts that. The Thunder won the bench points 52-26. That's the difference. While the Thunder only had 9 players available and each team tried to have their counteracting tanking moves and sit down their top players, the bench players, the reserves who were left after all the different moves that were made and having SGA sit out with a sore ankle, the Thunder bench produced 52 points. The Magic bench produced 26. And yet the Magic continued to go to that bench throughout this game because they were winning. And by they were winning, I mean they were losing. Look at the box score. Our good friend Mavs Draft on Twitter posted the box score and it pointed out the minutes production and minutes load given to players with a negative point plus minus column and a positive one. And the starters versus the bench is just jarring. It's just jarring. And I'm not saying that to commend Orlando. I'm never going to commend tanking, ever. I'm never going to condemn it. I'm never going to bash it. It's just part of the NBA. It's the only advantage small markets have. You have to tank. You can act like it's, not integrable. You can act like it's a sham or doesn't hold up the integrity of sports, whatever. The reality is, it's what you have to do. Folks, LeBron ain't walking through that door in Orlando. LeBron ain't walking through that door without Bronny in Oklahoma City. You're not going to land the top tier free agents. The only way to acquire star talent is via trade and via the draft. And the way you get players via trade and via the draft is by having high draft picks. Because high draft picks equal value, either by drafting young players that are controllable or trading for players with high draft picks. So I'm never going to hate on the team for tanking. But the reality is, both teams, neither one of them didn't want to win this game. Nobody wanted to win this game, and the Magic did a little better in that aspect of not wanting to win. So credit to them. This was a game. This was a must-lose game. Again, reverse your mindset. You have must-win games all the time for playoff teams. This was a must-lose game for the Magic. You cannot have a week if you're trying to be bottom 3 in the NBA, as the Thunder are, as the Magic are. You cannot have a week where you lose to the Thunder twice and you beat the Warriors. That's just not a good week for you as a tanking team. It was a must-lose game for the Magic, and Mosley did everything he could to lose this game, and that's why he's in that position, because he understands the organizational point of emphasis. Because that Magic team, as can the Thunder, can be really, really good with the top 3 pick. And Mosley's job can get a lot easier with the top 3 pick. So that's why you see the different pieces alter in there. And we'll talk more about that coming up. But the bench production was the entire difference tonight. The Thunder shot 48% from the floor, 33% from deep, and 81% at the line. Orlando shot 38% from the floor, 33% from deep, and 81% at the line. The big things, Theo Maledon has a 25-point game. And as we talk about the bench production from the Magic and Maledon, a big part of the bench production for the Thunder, people might have been saying, well, why'd you keep playing him 32 minutes? Why was he on the floor? Folks, the Thunder had 9 players available. Theo Maledon, stats-wise so far in his NBA career, grades out as the worst player in the entire NBA. There's nothing more to do for the Thunder to try to tank and lose games than play Theo Maledon 32 games. And if he wins you the game, you shrug your shoulders and move on. Playing Theo Maledon 32 minutes was not the problem tonight. And it's not something that you should point the finger at Mark or Sam for, that they played Theo Maledon tonight, because, folks, for the majority of his career, just based purely on analytics, he's graded out as the worst player in the league. So he had a good night, and you see what this means. And this is what I mean by this win is not very comforting for Thunder fans, because it's not like SGA had a great game. It's not like Josh Giddey had triple double. It's not like any player that you can foresee long-term being here for sure that a shot of doubt broke out. It was Theo Maledon having a nice night. It was Vid Critchie having a nice night. It was Lindy Waters having a good night. That's how you won this game. And in a year that you want to lose, those wins don't feel as valuable as wins where you have those other things happen, like SGA and Josh Giddey going off. It's no shame to Theo Maledon, who had 25 points and 6 assists and 4 rebounds and a steal and a block, and he shot 69% from the floor and 2 for 4 from 3. and went to the line 5 times, made all 5 of them. It's not a shot at him, but there's nothing to take away from that because somebody had to score tonight. Somebody had to dribble the ball tonight. Somebody had to play. You only have 9 guys available. And therefore, somebody had to be productive. And it was Theo Maledon. Now, do I hope that production continues next game and next season and the next season and the next season and the next season? Absolutely, I do. But it doesn't feel as a sure thing as if Josh Giddey was the one breaking out tonight, or if SGA continued his dominance, and so on and so forth. We'll talk more about this, including Trey Mann's electric quarter that really turned this game on its head and allowed the Thunder to win, coming up. But first, I want to tell you right now about our good friends over at BetOnline. Folks, BetOnline is where you want to be. It's that time of year again as college basketball is finally upon us with their postseason tournament. For the latest odds, contests, player props, betonline.net is your number one source for all your sports betting needs and info. BetOnline remains the best spot for all of your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. It's not just basketball. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering information this year, including live betting and your favorite Vegas casino games. So head over to the website today and use your mobile device and learn more about the trends in action. BetOnline is where the game starts. Folks, go check them out, betonline.net. It's that easy. Watch this. We're going to type in betonline.net, and we're going to pop up their sports book and go to basketball, and let's bet on some games. You know what? No Thunder game tonight, but there is March Madness on. So let's pop up the basketball games for tonight. The Sweet 16 gets underway, and you see Michigan's a +5. I don't love that line. Duke is actually an underdog, +1 against Tech. That line is very worrisome. And the Peacocks are +12.5. Do you believe that St. Peter's Magic will continue, or will Jaden Ivey take over that game and shut it down? The Jayhawks only 7.5-point favorites against Providence, and North Carolina is 2.5-point underdogs against UCLA. Excuse me. In this matchup of this board right here, I really like Gonzaga -9.5. I think that they're going to run away with that game against Arkansas. I can place that bet by clicking one easy button, and I'm in. So go check out betonline.net, and they've got you covered right there. We are back on the Locked On Thunder Podcast, on the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. I am your host, Rylan Stiles. You can follow me on Twitter at Rylan_Stiles. Follow the show on Twitter at LOThunderPod. Email the show, LOThunderPod@gmail.com. Thank you for making Locked On Thunder your first listen every single morning, every single day. We're here for you talking Thunder basketball. Your second listen, go check out Locked On NBA. It's a local experts covering the biggest stories from around the NBA every Monday through Friday in less than 30 minutes. It's free and available across all platforms, so you never miss an episode. Let's get back into this game. Trey Mann, huge microwave success in this game against the Magic. 2 rebounds and assists, 3 turnovers, 21 points, 58% from the floor, 50% from 3. Had a nice step back mid-range shot that didn't go in, but it's still nice to see him utilizing all 3 levels of the floor as a scorer and attempting to score that way. Had a beautiful pass to set up Darius Bazley on a cut. That was just 1 assist. It was a dime to Bazley for the N1. And a few more assists that, of course, would have been potential assists, but they didn't go down. But still, Trey Mann was a just spark plug for the Thunder in this game, and his presence in that second quarter really allowed the Thunder to claw back and win this game against Orlando. Already touched on Theo Maledon's great night. Bazley, he had the N1, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 10 points, but shot 25% from the floor, 1 for 7 from 3. And there were times where he just simply not guarded at the three-point line. The Magic were watching him, and he wound up for 3, got into his motion, thought about it, shot it, and missed. Number one, the Magic are incentivized not to guard you, although you know that I believe that tanking is only done in that front office. It's not done by the players. And with Bazley, after such a great stretch of games this last month, this game just feels like a shoulder shrug. You're playing the Magic, mostly empty arena. You're without half your roster. You have 9 available players. 1 guy who's available is coming off the flu, and Olivier Sarr. I'm not going to condemn one bad night, but it was a bad night from Darius Bazley in this one. But again, it goes back to, as we said yesterday and the day before about Bazley's breakout. Bazley's breakout is encouraging, and you have to put it in the context of this isn't his true role. His true role is not going to be a starter in the NBA. His true role is not going to be a high usage guy. His true role is not going to be what he was tonight. So you have to think that success and then realize that you can really bottle that up as a bench player and have every minute be valuable from Darius Bazley on the floor once this roster is truly flushed out. Poku had a haircut tonight, but 6 points, 2 blocks, 2 assists, 4 assists, 8 rebounds on poor shooting percentage was kind of all there was. Roby, another one, just like Malbon. Good game. 21 points, 2 blocks, 2 steals, 4 assists, 7 rebounds, 8 for 10 from the line. Went 3 for 4 from 3, 41% from the floor. But what does that mean for the future of the Thunder? Not much. I think that the opinion of Roby does not change. He's a future NBA player. He's going to be in this league for a long time because of the things he can do as a small ball 5. But is that future with the Thunder? It could be. It very well could be. But it is for sure in the NBA. It's just that with the roster turnover, with 3 first-round picks coming in and the moves you have to make, there might not be room for him in Oklahoma City, but there is room for him in the NBA. And that's kind of the same sentiment after this game against the Magic. Now, what is the most encouraging part of this is Vit Krejci's 12-point game with 11 rebounds, all defensive rebounds, his first ever double-double. Did not take a shot inside the arc. In fact, took a few deep threes, 2 assists, 2 turnovers. Really good game from Vit Krejci. And you've seen the Thunder invest in him, and I am curious to see what he looks like after a summer fully healthy, right? Where he's not coming off an injury and working back into game shape. He's simply just working on his craft. I really am excited for that for Vit Krejci to see what it looks like in preseason next year. And I'm sure he'll play Summer League. I'm not, of course, I'm not 100% sure on that, but I'd guess he'll play Summer League, and we'll get to see a taste of him in that realm as well. The two-way guys played good. Lindy Waters, 7 points, 4 rebounds. Sarr back off the flu and gave you 19 minutes. Really nice job from him. 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 8 points, 60% from the floor. The bet of the day, OKC +2, that cashed in. Moneyball pick, Trey Mann. It's actually Vit Krejci. MVP of the game, Trey Mann. His quarter as a spark plug for this offense really turned the tides. Up next for the Thunder, tomorrow we're going to grade your takes and answer your questions. So get them in on Twitter at Ryland_Styles. On Monday, we're going to recap the Nuggets game. Tuesday, recap the Blazers game. Wednesday, it's Richard Stamen for another draft pod recapping the Sweet 16. On Thursday, Hawks recap. And on Friday, fun episode Friday, we're going to review our prospect profile and projections from last year about Josh Giddey and Trey Mann and see where we succeeded and where we failed in judging those players, because we're bringing back our prospect profile and projection series this year with a prospect profile on all your favorite prospects in the NBA draft. So make sure you subscribe so you never miss a profile on a prospect the Thunder might take in the NBA draft. So until then, be good and be good to one another.